We are now live, folks, so people can see us whenever they decide to drop in.
This is
Hey, yeah.
fantastic. I'm actually waiting.
So far, we have 0 views.
Ooh. Give it a minute.
Give it,
Oh,
yeah.
I
Give
know, I
it
know.
literally a minute.
I'm
If
waiting for
that.
somebody to comment, and in
Who's
particular a
first?
person, and I can't wait until
Oh.
they show up. It's
Ooh.
going to be great, and I think Darren's going to really appreciate it.
Ooh.
That should assure us that they never show up. Like, oh, what was that? Was that Thursday night? Whoops! I was washing my hair and I forgot.
Yeah, I have that problem all the time.
You and Paul Segura.
Just lathering up.
Paul Segura. Aw.
There's a plethora of people. I know you save so much money in shampoo. Hey, nice. You know that guy.
Yeah, I've met him once or twice.
Yeah. So I just realized you both have 2 first names.
Yeah. Yeah. But I got
Riveting, I know.
My last name, I actually have a bunch of first names, but I cut the hyphenated part off and just make it Rudy to make it easier for everybody.
Ah.
Yeah. But my other part of my last name is also a first name.
Okay. Oh.
Well, you could
Yeah,
tell
I have no
interest.
interest. I have nothing interesting in my name. Sorry. That is my name, Producer Abel.
Sorry.
It's like McLovin or something, you know. It's just Producer Abel.
No, it's like not Mr. It's just producer.
Mhm.
It's Miss Jackson if you're nasty. I always wish my name was an adjective or a verb. It's pretty cool, Abel.
I wish people would just spell my name right, but that's okay.
Oh, I never thought about that. Yeah, that must happen a lot, right?
Yeah. Everybody thinks I have a double L. There's no H. But there's no E at the front. It's everything. It's all of them.
Oh, yes, Stella.
It's all of them. Yeah. It's everything. So it's all good.
Estella.
Yeah.
Oh, Stella E, like the challenge coin.
Yeah. Stella E.
Stella
Yeah, well, it's all good. Doesn't matter.
The only way that could have been better is if they put a comma. Ataraxia, comma A, as though it was like, like a dictionary entry or something weird like that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, let me see what we got here. I'm excited to drink some beer and have a show. And
oh yeah, I should put them in order. Yep.
All right, folks, we're 3 minutes in, so I think I'm going to start the show now.
That sounds great.
All right, so get ready. Hold on to your seats.
Pause for Abel close-up joke. Nice. That's Dawson from Street Fighter 2, everybody. And welcome to the Indie Beer Show with Daren, Abel, Estella, myself, and yes, Dawson from Street Fighter 2. That's my favorite character. I don't know. Anyways, so Daren is from Ataraxia Aleworks in Kearny Mesa, which just opened about 3 weeks ago. Is that right?
Yeah, about 4 weeks ago now. Almost
4. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Where did the time go?
Yeah,
well,
tell me about it.
He is super duper busy every day trying to brew enough beer and get just things going. And they've converted the space really nicely, but he made time to sit down with us and we really appreciate it. So thank you for making the time.
Yeah, no problem.
And we are going to get right into beer, right, Estella? I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
So our first beer is a Harambe Helles. It's a Helles lager, 4.5 coming in. And look at these beautiful crowlers. Abel was showing it at the beginning, but yeah. So there you go. But yeah, I'm excited to try these beers. Thank you. So what can you tell us about these? What can you tell us about this beer, Daren?
So that beer it's just a pretty typical light lager. One of the things that we're able to kind of work with is all of our beers are made from reverse osmosis water. So that one in particular was kind of playing around with the different mineral content and the salts that we could add to make it kind of really resemble that style of beer, the Helles style. It's just it's pretty much just like a light-bodied, low-hopped, easy drinking lager. Yeah, not much to it, but definitely the goal is for it to be a very clean beer and one that you could really kind of drink all day.
It's crystal clear. I mean,
Yeah.
talk about see-through. There's really nothing to hide behind in this beer, so that's really cool.
Right.
Does it feel as gutsy as it seems to a beer drinker for a brewer to kind of put it all out there? And
a little bit, because if there's pretty much any imperfections at all, you're gonna know. I mean, in drinking a beer like that, an IPA, you can just throw a ton of hops in, kind of cover some stuff up. Darker, maltier beers, you might not taste like certain kind of off flavors or imperfections in them, but the lager is like what you see is what you get. A light Helles style like that. It had to pretty much be, right its first attempt. And I mean, I like it. It's been one of our more popular sodas beyond the IPA. So I think I did at least a passable job. Don't want to toot my own horn. I think it's a good beer.
Well, good. Please don't hurt yourself patting yourself on the back.
I was going to say, I think it's more than passable. Come on.
Yeah. Well, you said there's not much to this beer, but there is quite a bit to your story. So I was hoping you could kind of just get our listeners up to speed on who you are and your past in beer, how you got into it, and where you worked previous to Ataraxia.
Okay. So I was just home brewing, and one day when I was in the home brew mart to buy ingredients, I saw that they were hiring. I applied, got the job, and
Who's they?
Home brew mart, sorry. Ballast Point Home Brew Mart, right there on in Linda Vista Road. So I worked there as like kind of a home brew clerk, home brew advisor for a couple years, and then I was volunteering my time in the mornings before my shift in the actual brewery there, because there used to be like a 15-barrel brew house in the back of Home Brew Mart, and that was pretty much where I got my my professional start to brewing was kind of just volunteering my time there, kind of just shadowing and trying to not get in the way of the brewers there.
Yeah.
And I applied a couple times to be a brewer at the Scripps Ranch facility, which at the time was the headquarter. And I eventually went straight from home to clerk to brewer, and been brewing, or I was brewing at Ballast Point for 7-ish years, 6.5, 7 years. Yeah, so I worked at Scripps Ranch until they closed down, and then now that spot's Dune Shine, and now the headquarters is in Miramar. So I was working there for the past couple of years at the Miramar spot.
Wow. So those two places in particular, Scripps Ranch and Miramar, you saw a lot of brewery growth and quick growth. What was that like?
It was a little overwhelming. I think when I got hired, there were probably less than 50 people working for all of Ballast Point. Yeah. And I think the max number of people was close to 700 in the entire company. Yeah, wow. I mean, they opened the big East Coast facility in Virginia, and just I think they were. I don't know if they were in all 50 states, but close to it. They might have been in all 50. It was very far and wide distribution and sales, and I was at the time, and just Ballast Point in general was brewing a ton of beer, like a crazy amount of beer. The facility at Scripps Ranch was supposed to be about 80,000 barrels a year. I think we did 124.
Oh my God!
Production there. Yeah.
Did you make any watermelon Dorado? No, never mind. That's a question for a different day. Sorry.
She's asking for a friend.
It's good to be your own friend.
I had to ask.
Hey, my last brew there was Dorado, and don't know what happened to it after the brew, but I wouldn't be too surprised to see a little bit of watermelon coming out.
It went in our belly. That's where it went.
I definitely drank.
You
the
just made her a
majority.
very jolly rancher. So 700 employees over at Ballast Point at the time. Now, how many employees do you have at Ataraxia?
0. Well, we have the 2
0.
owners, and that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Wow.
you are half of the equation over at Ataraxia, but you have another able-bodied guy. Sorry, able. I don't mean able. We have an able-bodied guy, but you have an able-bodied guy who takes care of the non-brewing component of the business and is learning the brewing. Maybe tell us about him and how you two got hooked up.
So we actually met just through mutual friends almost a decade ago, and we had just kind of not necessarily like joked is the wrong word, but we had kind of like talked in passing about like, oh, let's start a brewery, you know, kind of off the cuff. Like wasn't like 100% serious that it actually was going to turn into what it is now. But then, you know, over the years, I mean, we stayed friends, we stayed talking. He had the idea to open like a restaurant or food truck. And then at some point we were like, hey, you know, like let's get serious about this and do it. And we had planned and you know, written the business plan. I think our business plan has, you know, 50 iterations on it, but it's just something that we really focused on, and it eventually became what it is. We actually were going to start out of state. We did a bunch of research, seeing kind of what was the next up and coming, you know, city for beer, and you know, cheaper to do business, because I figured if we were moving, might as well move out of California, because cost of doing business here is a little high. We settled on Reno, Nevada.
Really?
Yeah. So about a year and a half ago was our last trip to Reno to do like a kind of a scouting trip. Was pretty much right when COVID hit.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, we got our tickets and everything was fine. Our tickets to the plane, and by the time we got on the plane for the trip, the plane was empty. The airport was empty, which was great for us. Yeah.
Eerie.
Yeah. I mean, there was maybe like a quarter of the people on the plane. So we got back and said, you know, let's kind of bench this until COVID's kind of, you know, at bay. And we kind of stumbled upon the Circle 9 spot. We were still not really looking for anything, and it's jumped out at us, and it was a good deal. We were kind of gambling that maybe the time when we were ready to open, hopefully COVID would be over with by then.
Sure.
And it's, you know, we missed it by about 3 weeks, but it was close. So I think that worked out really well for us. And I'm born and raised in San Diego, and I didn't have to leave, so I'm happy about that.
Nice.
Great city, great beer, great people.
I actually just got back from Reno specifically to go up there to do research on the breweries, and that scene is blowing up. There are 12 breweries with like 5 about to open in the next 3 months, 2 months.
Wow.
And it's really a vibrant scene. I had no idea, and then I found out and had to go up there and check it out. But you would have had a lot of competition up there because it's so condensed, I think. But I like the place that you ended up in Kearny Mesa, because you have beer lovers coming to O'Brien's down the street. And now, you know, I've always thought there's a lot of opportunity for when we're talking about the likes of, say, Quantum Society, Kilowatt, Hopnonymous, and you. It's a very easy place actually to go and brewery tour, although it gets overlooked a lot. But I mean, you go on a nice brewery tour and hit up Convoy for an awesome dinner.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of overlooked, but I love that you're there. I think that you have a lot of opportunity as long as you keep making good beer. And this first one here, really nice. By the way, the guy he's talking about is Alex, and he's holding down the fort at the tasting room. So respect to him, and I love the fact that they're watching. So hey to all the folks at Ataraxia. So I'm talking about your location. Why don't you tell us about your location, and you know, what made it appealing to you? What made it the right fit, even though you had this other plan? And I know that there were things like it was a good deal and all of that, but I'm surely you had to look at the space and say, okay, this could be mine. I could make this my own.
Yeah. And a lot of that's what you were saying about the breweries that are already in the neighborhood, and how Convoy, Kearny Mesa can be like a brewery tour spot. Yeah. So we want to kind of, you know, play into that. And establish good relationships with some of the breweries around there, and try to make like Convoy a brewery destination spot. Try to kind of get stronger together with all the other breweries in the area.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And we're making good beer. So,
Totally.
yeah. The Convoy is just it's full of just great places to eat. O'Brien's is about a block and a half away from us, and they got great food, great drinks. So it's a pretty good neighborhood, and could be a good neighborhood to make like kind of a drinking destination for beer.
Awesome, love it.
Yep.
So Abel's going to take us in our
my
top
turn now?
three. It sure is. It's always technically your turn. But
I know. So we were talking about the name of the brewery, and if you haven't watched the past shows, it's been very hard for me to say your name of the brewery. I don't know why. Of course, usually I always have to talk about what our next people on the show are going to be at the end of the show. So by then, I'm already had like 4 or 5 beers deep. So our top three. So get back to what I was saying. The top three we're saying it's the most challenging and/or confusing names or terms in the beer business. So either like a name of a part, or the name of a hop, or a yeast, or a brewery. And of course, since I'm starting off, I'm gonna use yours at Ataraxia, right? Ataraxia. Ataraxia. See.
Ataraxia.
Again, so that is my number 3. You're welcome to play along too if you like, Daren. But we will start with Brandon, then we'll go to Estella, and then we'll go to you, Daren. So if you want to play along. But Brandon, what is your number 3, I guess, most challenging, confusing name, word, terminology in the beer business?
There's actually quite a few because there's so many foreign terms. But I remember when I worked at Stone Brewing, we had their 17th anniversary coming up, and they always do a special beer for that. And I can say it now, but it took me a while. But Guter Damarong IPA is what it was called. It was
Bless you, my son.
Yes.
Very German in style, Deutschland, the motherland. But it was so difficult for folks to pronounce that we actually did a whole video. It's actually really funny if you look online or Stone. Just say 17th anniversary. Guter Damarong is a little bit hard to spell, but we went to the Stone Company store up in the front of the brewery and then asked people at random, like, how do you say this word? And it is just hilarious. And we went throughout the brewery and asked the brewers, do you know how to say this word? Because, they brewed the recipe. They don't know what it's called yet. I was in the marketing department. And so, of course, we knew what it was going to be called. It was whatever Greg Cook told us it was going to be called. And this was, in this case, this. So I just think that word is funny. I love that I finally mastered it. But, it's a fun multisyllabic German word that still holds a place in my number 3.
Cool.
All right.
Okay. Well,
Stella?
Mine is Kavik.
Yes.
Yeah.
What
nice
are we doing?
Well,
What
that
are
was my
we
number.
doing here?
That was my number 2. But yes, I was like right there with you. I'm like, Kavik, Kavik, Kavok.
Yeah, and you guys remember we were at White Labs. They explained it to us, and he said, "This is how we pronounce it." And I was like, "But everybody else says it different." But okay, whatever. But yeah, Kavik. Is it Kavik? Is it Kavik? Is it
Kavik?
Sure.
Awesome
Yeah.
stuff for Incorporated. I think
So,
I've heard people say Kavik more than Kavik, but I've heard them both. They're interchangeable.
Yeah.
I always say Kavik, and I never really thought too much about it, but maybe I've been saying it wrong this whole time. I don't know.
Oh,
own it. So yeah. But
yes, Matt, by the way, German words are multisyllabic, except the ones that aren't, because like ein and Deutsch and things like that, those aren't multisyllabic.
Do you want to play along, Daren? Do you have any come to mind? Yeah. What's your number 3? Top 3, or number 3 of the top 3?
So kind of what Brandon was saying about all the foreign words that are hard for Native American English speaker to pronounce, but Reinheitsgebot, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but the very impurity law.
yes.
That's kind of the law that kind of states that beer, to be called beer, can only be made with water, hops, malts, and most recently yeast, because before they actually didn't even know yeast was an ingredient. Yeah, pretty much those 4 ingredients are the only things you can put in a beer to call it beer.
So say it one more time. How do you the
Well,
right way to pronounce it?
I think it's Reinheitsgebot.
I think you got it right. But
Reinheitsgebot.
I can't attest to that, but I think you get it right.
Yeah.
We'll go with
It is
yours.
difficult.
Yes, we'll go with yours. Yes, yes. That's definitely it. That's definitely it. So,
Fun word to try to say.
yeah. So we did have a question. Speaking of names, we did have a question. Somebody wants to know: does ataraxia mean anything?
Yeah, it means tranquility. It's an ancient Greek word, and just kind of means like tranquility and calmness, and that's kind of what we were trying to capture with the space itself, and with our logo, was kind of that feeling of like serenity and calmness.
I could use some of that in my life. Thank you.
I know where you can get it.
I'll go visit you.
Yeah.
I'll go visit.
Oh, it's just like earlier, Estella. Yeah.
Yeah.
Earlier, Estella comes, picks up the beer, and she's like, "You look tired, friend." I'm like, "Well, I am." Aren't we all tired? I mean, come on. We all need that. We all need that peace. We all need that serenity.
Yeah, yeah. So
I'll get on board of that train too. That'd be great. I'll be a bandwagoner on that. So I'm going to ask you about the second beer, or the second beer, if you wouldn't mind. And the name is not going to be a mystery like Reinheitsgebot or Gute Damerung or Kavayek. It's like we're all going to know where this name came from. So please grace us with it and the style, and tell us all about this beer, please.
So Cowbell IPA. Right, that one? Yeah.
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 But what kind of cow? What kind of cow and what kind of bell?
Well, obviously a Jersey. I mean, geez.
Yeah, you got a fever.
Yep.
Need more Cowbell. So Cowbell IPA is just our West Coast IPA. Light bodied, good hop flavor and aroma, dry hopped. We kind of got that name, came up with it on a whim, but decided to make our double IPA that's upcoming called More Cowbell.
Yes.
So Cowbell IPA, More Cowbell double IPA.
You got any shirts of that? Because I would buy a shirt. Just saying.
No, good to know. But we'll see if we can get some Cowbell shirts whipped up.
I'm about the merch, so
you could have Dalton holding a cowbell and a stick in each hand. It'd be great.
All right,
or
let me jot that down real quick.
We know a good,
or maybe it's just a cow holding the bell.
Yeah.
We know a really good artist at a liquor store. So
yeah, we do.
That's actually not a lot He's really good.
He's really good. Yeah.
Cool.
But this beer just smells great. It has a lot of citrus in the nose, and then a lot more citrus on the palate with kind of that grapefruit pith thing that we all seem to like so much. Kind of helps to balance it out in the back.
So that version you're drinking, people have been asking us basically since we opened if we were going to do a hazy. So we did a hazy, and we also double dry hopped it. So it's going to be very hoppy. And I think that's important in San Diego because people here love their hops.
Bunch of hop heads. Get out of here.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
but the name goes by, the beer goes by the same name regardless. It's just the description on the board is different. So you can tell whether it's the double dry hopped hazy version or the West Coast IPA version, right?
Yeah. So the recipe is the same except with the exception of the double dry hop.
Okay. All right.
Got it. Okay.
I'm just trying to think of something clever for Cowbell. I don't know. Like a muted cowbell, or I don't know. Anyways. All right. So before we get more into what ataraxia is all about, like what the name means and things like that, so what exactly? You say it's a word for tranquility, but wasn't ataraxia kind of like didn't it refer to one of the like some sort of a Greek god or something like that too, or is it really just the word? I don't know. Somebody was telling me.
Okay, good. That's news to me. I'm not 100% on that. Not
okay.
Sure.
Well, I just wanted to debunk everything you were trying to tell us. That'd be kind of fun.
Fair enough.
So the reporter is coming out of Brandon right now. The reporter is coming out.
I have a source who tells me No, but
it's called Google.
Yeah, so we know you're about tranquility. How do you convey that at Ataraxia? What can people expect?
So we have a huge mural on the side of the wall, which is kind of shows like a stream or like a river or something, a waterfall, and really kind of like warm, vibrant colors. And then it's got our logo, the meditating guide, kind of sitting on a rock, and then there's some koi fish, a little bit of animal life, some trees, just kind of like really like kind of makes you feel kind of at ease while you're there. We brightened the place up a little bit from how it was before. We tried to make it kind of look as far away from an industrial warehouse as we could, despite it being an industrial warehouse. And we added some greenery on the walls and kind of just made it like a really welcoming spot.
Yeah.
And,
cool.
Yeah.
Alex is pretty welcoming too, so he helps to drive the tranquility, I think.
Definitely, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so now, I can't believe we've gone this far into a podcast without really talking about one thing, and that's the beer and the brewing. So maybe tell us about kind of your MO, where what your perspective is as far as brewing, how you select your styles, and what styles you have available and will have moving into the future too.
Okay.
That's a lot, I realize, but one at a time.
I mean, I love talking about it, so it's all good. So when we opened, we wanted to have a pretty decent selection of styles, and we also wanted to have a good amount of hoppy styles. So we kind of would have enough, something for everybody. So we have at launch we had 4 hoppy options, and then we had a couple lighter options, and then the little heavier, darker porter. And we are rebrewing some of the ones that we brewed already, and we just brewed a black IPA on Monday, and we're gonna brew a few like more malty or English styles upcoming, and then we want to brew some Belgian styles too. So we constantly, as someone who got his start in home brewing, I love brewing just a bunch of different styles. Like it's a lot of fun for me. I love doing it. I always tell Alex, like, when I'm brewing in the brewery, I'm in my happy place, and I like brewing a bunch of different styles. So I'm going to kind of be weaving in, styles that I want to brew with like styles that are more popular in San Diego, like IPAs and pale ales, for example. But I constantly want to have a good mix of new things. Excuse me. New things on the menu, as well as some of the classics that people have been liking so far, and beers that people want to, when people are thirsty for an IPA, they can come in and get an IPA they enjoy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So somebody pointed something out pretty important that you hadn't told us. Do you really have a Squirtle in that mural?
We do. Yeah.
What? How have we gone this long and you not pointed that out?
So I'm not the big Pokemon fan. It's actually Alex, my business partner. He specially requested that a Squirtle was drawn on the mural. Yes. And so on the bottom right of the mural, you'll see a little happy Squirtle right there. just enjoying the vibe, chilling on the river, on the side of the river.
Squirtle.
Yeah. I'm not a huge Pokemon fan myself, but my children are, so in other terms, I am as well. So by default,
it's Alex's favorite Pokemon, so he was very happy.
Squirtle is a good one. Yeah. None of this Pikachu that everybody else likes. I get it. Yeah, I got you.
I'm more of a Psych Duck fan. Yeah, I'm more of a Psych Duck fan.
Oh
like
no!
Me, so.
Come on.
I like Magic the Gathering.
Still playing that D&D, I see, Brandon. Gotcha.
Oh, hey, yesterday I had a beer that was called. It had a crab on the can, and it was called Dungeness Dragons.
That's pretty good.
It was from Humble Sea. I really, and the beer was really good too. So just if you happen to be a bottle craft, check that out. Anyways, I digress.
Sorry, we went off track there. Sorry.
Yeah, it's kind of my thing.
Oh,
But
man.
well, that was you know what, that's what I drank. First,
That's what you drank.
what we drank. That's what I drank.
Ah, all
So
right.
I guess I got a head start on that one.
Yeah, you did.
On
Go for
accident. But, oh well, what did you guys drink?
So I brought a bunch of beer home from Texas, and actually recorded a little segment while I was out there with one of the owners at False Idol that we've talked about before. I brought you guys back some beer as well. I'll deliver that to you soon.
Thanks.
But they had
Thanks.
some beer called Stylin'. Yeah, they had one beer called Stylin', and they had another beer called Profilin'. With a Ric Flair on it, and I would run and get the cans so you guys can see them. But they're some of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. Obviously, I'm a huge wrestling fan, but I drank one before I left to pick up beers from Abel's house. So that's the last. I drank the Profilin' today, and it was delicious. So
What kind of
yeah.
beer was it?
It's a sour.
Oh,
yeah, and it
okay.
was
All right.
delicious. It was really, really good. So yeah.
Cool.
Abel, what'd you drink?
Well, didn't Rudy the artist do some of the can work for False Idol?
I don't know.
I think he did. I think he did some can work out there for them. Not all their cans, but
I
I
have
think
to
he's
go
done
run
some.
and get it so you guys can see it. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous.
Just throwing that out there if he's watching. And so I, of course, every Wednesday I used to go to Tap Room. That was my tradition because I was off on Wednesdays, but now I'm not off on Wednesdays. So I went today, and of course Bill Batten was there, which is great friend of mine. And again, they just brought out Cryocurrency back, which is probably one of my favorite IPAs over there. It's a 100% cryo hopped IPA, West Coast IPA with Cascade and Simcoe and Equinox. So,
nice.
yeah,
Okay.
I mean it's very just kind of that bitter backbone is what I love so much about it, but it does have a lot of that fruit note right in the front, the tropicalness. And yeah, I mean, I gave him a pat on the back and said, "Good job, Bill."
Good job. Oh,
Darren,
man.
do you want to play along with us with what's the last beer that you drank before coming on to the show?
I'm drinking a duet right now.
Ooh.
There you go. A duet,
All right.
and the Ballast Point glass. Nice.
Pretty sneaky, sis.
It was
Yeah.
the closest
Yeah.
glass I had available.
Yeah.
My glass doesn't discriminate as to what beer is inside it.
There you go.
It's good.
It won't be in there very long.
It's
I-
2021,
yeah.
man. Don't discriminate, okay?
Right.
Yeah.
We got these glasses have been doing it too long. We gotta put our foot down. We gotta lock it down and teach them the correct way.
What Abel said.
Speaking of teaching them the correct way, has nothing to do with it. What is the number two most challenging and or confusing names or terms in the beer business? And we will start with Brandon. You go first this time, Brandon.
I was gonna say Rahinskobot, but since it rightfully got taken because it's a difficult word,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna hold this one up because it was almost my number 3. I still don't know how to say it.
Wait,
It's a Norwegian brewery. I think it's Nunnya. I don't know, but
it's Nunya.
It's
like none of
it's
your
like-
business.
it's like a brewery made by the Stieg Larsson, who did the girl with the dragon tattoo. Essentially, I don't know how to do the O with the slash through it. The beers are pretty good, but I still just it's one of those names where, much like everything else, you can't take what people tell you, because one person will tell you something, another person will tell you another thing.
Yeah.
And really, I guess I just need to get on Google and have it just like, and then I would know. But at any rate, that's a pretty tough one. But Heinzgebot, still, I mean, that has it's so profound in the entire history of brewing.
Yeah.
To be so difficult, still, that's something. And it's multisyllabic and German. So, there you go.
What about you, Estella?
So this is a little behind the scenes at Mujeres. We researched basically what a mermaid is back in ancient times, like pre-Aztec times, and it's what we wanted to name a beer. And we did the homebrew collab with the Holtz, and their beer is called Siren Song. So I was like, oh, perfect. We'll use the name, but the name literally is Tlanchana. which nobody's going to be able to pronounce. Tlanchana. So
say one more time.
Tlanchana.
Tlanchana.
Yeah, it's like Tlanca. Yeah. Anyway,
you gotta want it.
Yeah. So I was going to spend 20 minutes explaining the name if we named it that. So it's Canción de Sirena, which is siren song in Spanish. Canción de Sirena.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what the beer is going to be instead of Tlanchana. But not all of you guys know what a pre-Aztec mermaid was called and the history and all that.
Give us some credit, Estella. I mean, that is so pedestrian. I totally knew that. Well, and it sounds lovely. I mean, Canción de Sirena, yeah?
Yeah, it's very good.
I think it, and it's a saison, so that's amazing.
It is a saison, yeah.
I like how you said that with his hand over his mouth, like somebody said it for him. He's like, I was like, is there somebody?
person behind the curtain, please.
I know.
Come
I
out.
think somebody else is like, saying that.
Person behind the curtain. Heather comes out. She's like, I said it. I said it.
Yeah, Gia's from Ensenada. She might have said it. My dog might have said it. She's more qualified than anybody in this house, but. Well, I love the name. Way to go!
Yeah. So yeah.
All right, Daren, what's your number 2?
I didn't realize it'd be 3.
You can pass. You can pass. We'll come back to you.
So like the frothy foam that appears on the top of beer during fermentation. Another German word, Kreuzen or Krausen. I don't really know the correct way to pronounce it.
Oh,
I think it's Kreuzen, but I think most people say Krausen.
Ah.
Yeah.
Maybe I just call it foam. I just call it foam.
Foam, bro.
Foam stuff. Foam stuffy stuff. All right. Yeah.
All right. So my number 2, because you took my Kavik. This was my backup, just because, like, just seeing I can say it now, but seeing the word, it took me forever to say it. Brettanomyces.
Brettanomyces
was like when I saw the word, I was like Brett mice.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, that's not. And so like Paul Segura was hanging out with him, and he was like explaining it to me for an hour. We had an hour conversation about how to say it, how to pronounce it, and what it is. But it was just one of those things where I'm just like, he showed me the word. I'm all Brett nice. I don't know. I don't know how to say that. So Brettanomyces. Now I can say it, which is great. Gotcha. But the first time I saw that, it was so difficult to say. Yeah.
That's why everyone's got a best friend named Brett. Because it's just so much easier.
I don't know anybody named Brett.
You can have one of mine. Pass it along.
It's okay.
What we need is like a Brett Michaels beer where they do a takeoff of that for the 80s. Now that would be fun.
Ooh, I'm going to save that in my pocket, sir. Thank you.
Right up your alley. Awesome.
Yeah.
But look out, it's poison.
Hey-o. He's not joking.
I can't help myself. I apologize.
All right. So what are we doing now? We got the number 3 beer coming up.
Oh yeah. Yes.
We've never needed it more. All right.
Daren looks forward. We got to move it on, guys. Let's go.
Oh God, we're so sorry. The Great Deliverer.
Yeah. Great Deliverer.
Yeah.
All right. So this is a porter. And it comes in at what, 7%?
Yep.
All right. You want to tell us a little bit about this beer? Well, we pour ourselves some.
Yeah. So this is the homebrew recipe. I've homebrewed more than any of the other beers I've done, and it's my personal favorite. It's very low hopped malty porter with like kind of a red hue to it, a little bit of like a brownish opaqueness to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like a pretty good like brown porter, American porter. Yeah, I think it has just the right amount of hops that you can kind of tell that they're there, but they don't really lend themselves to kind of overtake any of the other flavors of the malts themselves. And there's hints of I get a lot of chocolate and a little bit of coffee, but there's no chocolate or coffee in it. It's just
I get a lot of deliciousness. That's what I get. But
thank you. Yeah, it's been it's a personal favorite of both mine and Alex's.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, I'm hoping, more of the hop heads drink it and realize that, there's more to flavor than just hops. So I think that's a good beer to kind of showcase, just all the different things you can do with malt.
Yeah, it's really smooth, and then the flavor's just there, and then it's gone. It's just, it's delicious. It makes me want to drink some more. Wow, this is great. Oh, I am. Don't you worry.
Before the show started, so Darren and I were. So my first homebrew recipe was porter, and porter is the recipe that he's homebrewed the most. We were just talking about what happened to porters. It's like brown ale, stout, nothing in between. And porter is just such a great drinkable style where you get all of these malt nuances, and they can even be pretty bold, but then finish off really nicely and become a drinkable beer. I love the fact that you are leading with this as one of your opening beers. I think that's great because you're a proponent of the style, but it really is rich in malt and it's layered. What is the malt, Bill, if I may ask, for this beer?
That's a good question. I haven't written down.
All right. Well,
it's Maris Otter and Two Row. It was a combination of those for the base malt, and then there was one of the maltsters, Thomas Fawcett and Sons. They I think they're the only ones that make this pale chocolate malt.
Okay.
So it's a little bit lighter in color. It's not as dark as some of the other chocolate malts that are out there. But it has kind of like the richest chocolate flavor to it, in my opinion, or at least out of the ones that I've tasted. And then I'm trying to remember what else is in it, but I think a little bit of carafa, which is like a very highly I don't remember if it's drum roasted, but it's like really dark malt. And very small amount of like a dark crystal, British dark crystal malt. Trying to remember off the top of my head what else is in it without having to look up the recipe. And then the hops are just a couple of the C hops. I think there's a little bit of Cascade in it. I think there's some Nugget, and kind of just really like modest amounts to the point where you kind of know hops are there if you're really looking, but it doesn't really take anything away from the malt.
Nice. Well, I love that it's like chocolate milk on the nose, but then you are left with this great finish of dark chocolate. I don't know if that's kind of like the hops coalescing with the malts to kind of make that bitter chocolate thing happen, but it's really nice. And wow, look at Peter and Matt are going off. This is some good stuff. Yeah, I remember when Stone used to make that amazing
Matt and Peter show.
Porter.
It's the Matt and Peter show.
I guess we can't do Brett Michaels, but
Hangar 24 made a Brett Michaels, or how to Brink called it.
Matt's number 2 was pretty good, by the way. I totally agree. Trube.
Hi, Peter. I know that guy.
Oh, you guys are buds?
Yeah.
Obviously.
He says he loves you.
Well, Peter, he's only got one R in his name.
I was going to say, Peter, you
so
spelled his name wrong, so do you really love him? I don't know.
Everybody gets it wrong.
Story of my life, bro. Story of my life.
Mine too. What about you, Brandon?
No, people mostly get it right. I get a lot of Brendan, a lot of Brian and Brendan. Okay, so you've been open less than a month. You're only getting started, and it seems like things are going really well. I'm glad to hear that. But what can we expect, or what do you kind of have in the hopper as far as when we progress past a month, past 2 months, and are able to have events again? Do you have programming like trivia or anything fun that you have in the works for fans?
Yeah, we definitely want to get trivia going. I think trivia is a blast. I have fun doing it. Probably won't be partaking in it while I'm working, but it's always a good time. I mean, trivia is always a good time. Having like an art show this Saturday from 6 to 10. If anybody wants to show up to that,
nice.
10,
okay.
Should be a good crowd.
Cool.
And yeah, just I mean, Alex and I we don't have it like slowing down is not really it's just not the way our brains work. So, I mean, we constantly want to just keep growing, keep building. We don't really want to force anything. We want to kind of just grow organically. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely already talks of, expanding, a year, 2 years, however down the line. But yeah, we don't want to just stay a 3.5 barrel brew house forever. We definitely want to pretty much keep growing and expanding.
Okay. Well, speaking of expanding, so what are your long-term goals for Ataraxia? That's a good question for people nowadays, because in the olden days, people wanted to be in grocery stores, big box stores. They wanted to go to multiple states. It was kind of like this, hey, we could be big. But nowadays, people really have their own business plans and the things that they want to accomplish that spell success for them. So how big do you want to be? Or conversely, how small do you want to stay?
I mean, yeah, see our name in every grocery store eventually. That'd be ideal. But we got to walk before we run. We understand that. So pretty much take risks when we have to, but don't take any unnecessary risks, and try to expand and grow as we can and as we see fit. Get a little bit bigger brew house, try to get some kegs and bars to start, maybe a limited canning or bottling run, and just kind of see, where it goes, throw some feelers out with every new thing we try, and see, how we feel we can expand from there, and how big and in how much or how little time. So as of now, we're just selling out of our tasting room.
All right.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely in the works of trying to get our name more out there and our beer more out there.
Well, I think that's a great plan initially. So speaking of that, what are the best ways to find out and follow you find out about everything Ataraxia, follow you online?
Yeah, I mean, Instagram and Facebook. It's just at Ataraxia Aleworks, all one word. I believe our Twitter is Ataraxia Ales.
Okay.
We post on Instagram almost every day. And our story, we mention if there's ever going to be any events, any video releases, pretty much any news.
You just became a robot. Your voice just completely changed on the speaker, and so did I.
Weird.
Well, that's fun. All right.
Are we all a robot right now?
You sound great.
You guys sound normal. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever.
It's the top half here that's weird.
Okay.
I know, and we might be losing a little bit of a connection with Daren right now.
Gotcha. Okay.
You get a little pixelated too on your screen.
You'll all look fine. Supposedly, Mars, but I don't trust my Wi-Fi meter.
I feel like I'm talking to the Sticks, Mr. Roboto right now.
Well,
like I said,
it's okay.
you got a robot. That's.
Oh no, we've been hacked by the Russians. How much ransom are we going to have to give up?
Russians are everywhere, guys.
But Putin said it's not happening, so it's not.
Yeah. I'm going to go through all of our Patreons for this show. If you like to become a Patreon, we would definitely appreciate it. Go on to patreon.com /the Indie Beer Show. You can join this list of amazing people that actually printed now, you guys. Yeah. Usually I'm looking at it on my phone and I can barely read it when I'm 4 beers in, but yeah.
Trust me, I had to do that the last 2 shows, so I get where you're pitching.
This is why this is this big. This is why it's this big. So anyway, all right, let's go, guys. So Ben, Bill, Brian and Christopher Pariah, Brian Gould, Casey, Dan Diegos, Dante, David Martin. Hi, David. Doug, 4 Brewers Podcast, Garen with Beer Alien, Greg, the Indie Beer Show brand, COVID-19, pandemically socially distancing, Zorball LLC. Thank you, Greg and Maggie, for that. Happy Craftsman Podcast, James, Jared, Jason, Jess from Ale Tales, Joaquin, Joseph, Joey from Hoppy Beer Gear, Juan, Judas, Kenneth, honorary patron for life, Larry Smith, Liz Bauer, Good luck, friend, on your journey. Yep. You're killing it. Matt and Candace Babineau, who are here.
Hey.
Matt from The Perfect Pour. Miguel, Mr. Peacock from Tapcraft. Mike, Norman, OC Brew Girl, Pacific Beer Chat, Robert from 13 Point, Rudy the Artist, Sergio, Tamales Las Golondrinas, Brian Beagle.
It makes me hungry. It makes me hungry every time.
Yeah, and I didn't do any justice last week saying it, so.
Oh, it's okay. Brian Beagle, Daniel, and Vegas J.
Vegas J.
Yeah. So, like I said, if you would like to become a Patreon, we would definitely appreciate it. You can go on to our website and just click the link there, or you can just go on to patreon.com/The Indie Beer Show. Woo!
Yeah.
It's my breath away to say all those.
Well done.
Well, you're gonna have to say it a couple more times because we got a couple of upcoming shows coming up. That's why it's called upcoming.
Yeah.
July 8th, we got Resident Brewery. They did again some beer with some guy named Musgrove or Joe, or I don't know. He went to school like in the East County. Whatever.
You know what's so sad? You know what's so sad? That's the show that I wanted, and I will be on a plane to Guadalajara, so I will not be on the show next week.
You're gonna miss it. I'm actually gonna wear Padre gear that day.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
okay, I'll pay for the Wi-Fi again. It's fine. I'll pay for the Wi-Fi again.
So July 8th, we got Resident Brewery.
Did we mention that we're doing it from the suite up in the
park? You're lying. You're lying. No.
And we might have a secret guest on.
I don't know. Man,
I hate all of you.
Hey, Musker have been pimping that beer hard. I really appreciate the fact that he went there and he's like giving them all this love and talking about it in interviews and stuff. That's really cool.
And it's available at Petco Park, even though they sold out at Resident Brewing. So you guys definitely make sure it's a great beer. It's a great beer. So
and if you don't know what it's called No Joe Double IPA. So July 8th, Resident Brewing. July 22nd, which I will not be around, which is not as important as Stella over here, is Pizza Port Brewing. And then on August 5th, Deschutes Brewing. I can actually say that word, Deschutes. Like you look at it, I can say it, Deschutes. Most people can't pronounce that. They'd be like, Deschutes? So, Deschutes.
My friend in Texas says Deschutes. So there you go.
Oh, okay. It's a relative of the Shatsky. It's Deschutes. But if you have any questions for any of these folks, let us know. Email us at cheers@indie.beer or just get in touch with us directly. We're very easy and accessible and nice people. Starting down there, moving there, and then going to me. That's about the niceness factor, I think.
So are we going to get into our top three or number one of the top three?
I think we should.
Okay, so our top three tonight, if you missed it in the past, the last 50 minutes, most challenging or confusing names of terms in the beer industry. I didn't really have Goose. Like I hear that all the time just because people don't know how to say it properly. I don't know how to say it properly because I do go to some breweries and some bars and they're just like, oh, do you mean the Gose? Oh, you mean the Goes? And I'm like, I don't know. You tell me. Like,
and it's spelled two different ways also.
Yes.
So I've seen it two different ways. So I think that's
so that is my number one most confusing name thing. So we will go next to Mr. Roboto. Are you good? Can you do it? Do you have a number?
Oh my God!
You are.
You have to say these are not the droids we're looking for.
Matt Babineau wants you to say this. Hold on.
These aren't. No, he didn't say it right.
The droids we're looking for.
Oh man, I'm so isolating that clip. I'm isolating that clip. And that's going to be like somewhere down the line.
So good, so good. Sorry, Daren. Sorry, Daren. But you knew what you were in for tonight. So
I don't know if he did, but now he does.
I warned him.
Well, do you have a number one, or should we just pass?
Nothing I can think of. I don't know if you'd be able to hear my robot voice.
Well, no, we can hear you. We can hear you. It's just you're a robot. That's all. But no, we can definitely hear you. But
the secret's not. I'm actually a robot.
All right.
All right, Brandon. You next, Brandon?
Yeah, sure. I think I'm saying it right. Graziski.
Grazitsky.
Sure. Grazitsky. So I'm leaving
Is that the
Germany
power forward for the Denver Nuggets? Like, who is that?
That was good. That was good. Yeah, he's that draft pick that everyone's like, that's not even from one of the colleges in this country. But yeah, I'm leaving Germany, taking a short jaunt to Poland for a lighter colored beer that's often very smoky in its character. Grodziskie, I guess. But it's very difficult for me. I don't know why. I could do Reinheitsgebot, but I used to be able to do it until I had this porter. But yeah, that'd be my number one. I feel very not confident ordering that.
Okay. So for me, it's a word that's very easy to me, but apparently it's not easy to everybody else. Amarillo.
Oh.
Amarillo. Why do people call it Amarillo? Because that's not what it is in any way, shape, or form.
Because them Texans went and ruined it for you. Yes. Like, for real.
So, not a difficult word, but people make it difficult. Like they make everything else difficult. So, Amarillo.
It's those quesadilla people.
It is the quesadilla people.
With the side of guacamole. Don't forget the side of guacamole.
I know.
It's La Jala.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
El Cajun.
Yeah.
El Cajon.
So if you could just say Amarillo instead of Amarillo, that'd be great. That'd be great. That's all.
Sounds a lot better.
I'm gonna find a beer next week for what we drink with Amarillo in it.
Go ahead, because I won't be here. Go right ahead.
And it was brewed using the German purity law that we all love. Well, this has been a really fun show. I appreciate you, Daren, for hanging in there because we kind of took it to a different direction, but you've been great. I got to say that if you haven't been to Ataraxia, which you probably haven't because they're so new, it's a great place to check out. And I think that you'll really enjoy it. I certainly did, and we've enjoyed our time here drinking these beers. And if
will you be there on Saturday?
I will.
I'm going to come by on Saturday. I'm off at 5:30 at Society. I'm going to jet over there right afterwards.
Yeah.
Awesome. We got that art show at 6. So
okay.
He'll bring you right there.
And please have that robot voice when they get there.
Or his money back. You said it.
Don't turn the human voice to
I get it. You're in public. You have to be human. Got it.
Yeah.
So I'm actually really glad that Estella brought up the saison that she made with the incredible Holtz, Kevin and Brandon Holt. I think that's really cool. That beer is still coming out July 3rd.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes.
All right. I can't wait. I'm going to be there. I'm going to go check out that beer, and I'm going to check out Mujeres finally, now that I can leave the house. So I'm stoked, and congratulations on your grand opening. That was cool to see.
Thank you. That was a huge thing for us, so appreciate it.
And well patronized.
Yeah.
In a good way. Patronized in a good way.
Yes. Yes.
Well, very cool. And Ataraxia, the black IPA they talked about, that was with is that Hop Brutality?
Yeah, Hop Brutality.
With Max Mahler?
Mahler.
Oh, Mahler. See, I was going to say there's another difficult word in craft beer that I don't know. But yeah, I was really glad you guys picked up Hop Brutality because I miss black IPAs. Again, like porters, like what happened to this style? It used to be so good. It was hot like 6 years ago. Yeah. And then it went away. But
it went pretty fast as far as I remember.
Yeah.
Black IPAs.
Your voice is back. Did you charge your batteries?
Yeah.
Did you charge the bat? Oh, there it is. That's why. That's
uncross the wires.
Yeah.
Well, when can we have a black IPA at your place? Do you know yet?
I think we have scheduled to have it released on the 17th, July 17th.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Or somewhere around there. Yeah.
We'll be out of saison by then. We can do it then. That works.
Awesome. Cool.
All right. Can you add some Amarillo?
Amarillo.
Armadillo.
No. Amarillo. Amarillo.
Yes. Holiday Amarillo.
Yes.
Well, okay. This is getting too weird. So I'm going to just sign off now. But we really had a great time talking to Daren. And if you haven't been at Ataraxia, like I said, go. We're not just saying that. It's a nice place, good people, and a regular. And hey, Alex, give that regular who's gonna comment but didn't as far as I can see. Hard time, please.
Yeah.
But
we gotta say hi and bye to all the people that are at Ataraxia.
Oh, that's right.
Watching us right now.
Daren, could you actually give the address, because I don't think we've said the physical address, so people can go and check it out.
It's 7292 Opportunity Road, Suite C, 92111.
There you go.
Yeah.
There it is. There it is.
Well,
so thank you so much.
This was a pleasure for
you.
Daren, for producer Abel, for Don't Call It a Comeback Estella,
Hi.
and for the weird guy who puts his URL on stuff. This has been the Indie Beer Show. We've had a great time with you, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye.
Bye.